Hey everybody, how y'all doing on this fine Saturday morning? So I wanted to touch on a few things today. Some small changes made. I got freaking shit all over my face. Anyway, so been giving the horses some new grain to pellet, and for whatever reason, this stuff she just likes dropping it everywhere. The other stuff I gave her wasn't. But if you've looked at her, she started putting on some weight, which is what I want. She's been way too skinny. You can still see her ribs, which I don't like. But they're like, that divot's gone for the most part, and she's actually starting to look a lot healthier. Same with her, and he just always looks fat. Next thing, we changed. These two kept getting out, so they've been locked up again. But they're getting a grain ration now. And they're also getting some free choice sodium bicarb because they get ridiculous hay bellies. Like, when I say ridiculous, that's mild for her. That's a little excessive for her, but they get a big hay belly. And I don't like it. They get sodium bicarb as a free choice. It's in their grain. And I also put some in their water. It's just baking soda. It's nothing dangerous. But it helps fight the extra foaminess and stuff that they get in their stomach from the hay belly. And they've always had a problem with it. They get excessive hay belly a lot. At least these two do. And it's caused from a number of things. One of them, I think it's because they were weaned way too soon. And their bodies just didn't have time to, or their stomachs didn't have time to build up the right stuff to break down hay. So, coming here to these guys, the calves think Spaz is actually getting a little better. I can actually touch Spaz now. Can I, Spaz? She's not a fan of it. Brownie's a little bit better. Fawny. These guys are all starting to put some weight back on. Like I said, our pasture went to shit. Yes, Lolo's still here. Don't know how much longer, but yes, Lolo's still here. Calves still haven't gotten the idea behind it. As you can see here, Lolo still does not like me, nor do I like her, so calves are what they are. They still look incredible. Lolo's mad because she can't butt her way in. I've got the headlocks locked. These three are still lactating, so Lolo gets a little bit over here. Or she can stick her head in there, but Fawny can get to there. I still want to point out Spunky, because I'm sorry, she is a gorgeous calf to me. She's just built like a brick house. That's Mabel behind her. Elsie laying down, or Fantasy. Elsie's Fantasy is what I call her. And then you got the steer back there chewing his cud. He's eventually... I'm going to be weaning them as soon as the bull shows up. I do have a bull now. Man, she just looks so good. This year, I got us a Black Angus. He's not a full black. He is a black. He's small. I think he's 18 months. Something like that. Well, not quite 2, I know that much. He's a good looking bull. He ain't developed the big fat neck yet, so his head will still fit through our headlocks. If anybody remembers the Red Bull we had, his head didn't fit through the headlocks very well. Bringing the bucket back in here because they're gonna get a little bit more of this. So what they're getting This is some soy oil meal, cracked corn, distillers, and some calcium carbonate. So you gotta, the point of the calcium is because there's so much phosphorus in distillers, you have to offset it a little bit. And it's not a 50-50 mix or nothing like that. This is going to change here a little bit. This was just to see how they would handle it. In fact, if you look at, I mean, they don't even get that much. There's barely any in there. You just have to know your ratios. So, there is something that's going to disappear from there. The distillers, I like feeding it because it's cheap. It's $8 a 50-pound bag, which is cheap. Problem with it, like I said, it's high in phosphorus, and that can be bad for cows. If you give me a second, I can prop you up for a second. So, one of the other reasons that I'm feeding them this way is because I wanted to just experiment with a ration of my own and see what it would do and how well it was going to work. And calves are drinking a lot more, or aren't drinking as much off them, but I want to see if I can boost their milk production up a little bit too. Now, calves about suck these guys dry every day. I've yet to notice any of them really bagging up, hardly any. Fawn still does in the one quarter that she was having issues with. I think it's just because the calves don't like it, so they don't drink out of that quarter as often. But when push comes to shove, and that's the only quarter left, they're gonna take whatever they can get. Now, these guys have been getting their hay outside again. I just threw them a little in here because they were bagging. They won't eat through a lot of the stuff that's in here. These two take forever to eat. Oh. Part of the problem is Jack steals hers, so she doesn't get quite as much as she should. But I put extra in there because of that. So, Jack, who's a complete fatty for a donkey. Probably, what is it? I gotta go get the stocks. And they'll be getting their feet done again. For whatever reason, Holly stayed pretty decent. I don't have too many issues with her feet. We're still having issues with Rosie's, but that's to be determined. If we can get this one back where we want, or her hoof back where we want it, I'm hoping we can. And the same with Jack. His feet were just getting ridiculous. Got him caught, got him whittled down. Hopefully we can do them again and get him whittled down again. But Holly's never really need much attention. Hers are just rasped with flares and they're good to go. And she's really never been an issue. I've never had foot issues with her. I kind of want to find someone to try and break her just so we can start riding her. Because that's about the only thing she'll be useful for. I mean, I could probably train her to drive. I know I could train her to drive. It just will take a really long time, I think. She has pulled a little bit in four breast. But to be able to do it singles, I think is going to be a hard battle. And I don't want to hook her with Rosie because Rosie is all go and no whoa. And I need some slower animals to really get her slowed down. I'm covered in dust and debris. But these guys really seem to like their grain. And I'm hoping that this is really going to help. Like I said, they've got free choice sodium bicarb. It's in their feed. It's in their water. It's not enough to do any damage in their water, and I only do it once every couple of feedings they'll get. So I'm in there like today their water was empty, so I cleaned it out. And as filling, I added a little bit in there. There's a whole ratio per gallon. I don't really follow. I go till I feel it's the right amount, and like I said, because they have so much free choice of it. And it's in there, or they have free choice of it, and it's in their grain. It's not real detrimental that it's in their water. It's just, I think it's easier accessed if it's in their water. Easier digestibility and gets it into their stomach quicker. We'll see if it's going to work. And like I said, normally their stomachs are way worse with bloating as far as hay belly goes. And for where they're at now, they're looking a lot better than normal. They're starting to put actual weight on, not just hay belly weight, which is something we want. I want them to have a little bit more weight to them. They need that. They are cycling. I mean, it's October now, so that puts them at like 18 months. And they've cycled, or they're cycling, so I mean, technically I could breed them if I want to, and I'd love to, but get some small minis out of them. Breed them to like a mini Hereford or a mini Jersey, and there's a whole lot of mini stuff you can breed to. They're looking a lot better than they did this summer. Actually, believe it or not, Rose looked way nicer on just grass than she does hay. She comes from more grass-fed genetics, so she does do a lot better on straight grass. Daisy's a hodgepodge of everything, so she's mostly Holstein, but she's got enough grass genetics in her. She does look pretty good with grass, on just straight grass. So in the past, in the grazing season that we no longer have, or I no longer have, I should say, we still have a grazing season going on. If I could pasture off my one hay field that I just took all the hay out of yesterday that was lined up and put it in the barn. If I could pasture that field off, these guys would still get another month out of that field. All of them would benefit from it. I could probably get a month out of it. I don't have the ability to do that right now, so it's not really a viable thing. Maybe now that the guy that the landowner's son bought 2 acres off his dad, or was given 2 acres, however that worked. Anyways, he's building a house. It's pretty close to completion, and we might talk to him about possibly fencing the property you know, the one field in anyways, and doing that. But he brush hogged what used to be a Christmas tree lot, and all the stumps are finally gone. So I'm gonna start spreading a lot of manure on it. All this composted horse manure that's at the barn is gonna go up there. We've got the big pile that I showed you guys that they add to daily. That's gonna go up there. Actually, that's gonna go on the majority of his land, the rented stuff, and then we have our little field for on the main farm here that is gonna get all the rest of this cow manure that I have been composting for the last 2 years, or a year and a half actually. So all that's gonna go on the little field, because that doesn't actually need a whole lot. That can go with the flow, so to speak. That's kind of like what I save for winter time when I clean out the barns and stuff, and I don't want to compost anything. But that's the big update for today. Like I said, I'm gonna try and get around to posting some more videos and stuff. It's been hard with life in general. These guys got a little bit of hay left. I'll let them finish this up. I threw some in there yesterday. I don't remember what it was. Them small square bales, they're just getting, that's what these guys are getting right now, just some of them small squares until things can change and I can get them where they can I can get a round bale somewhere that I can pull off of to feed them. Because these guys, a round bale would last them forever. They don't eat hardly nothing, which is why a lot of people are really liking the miniatures and the mid-size and the micros, because they don't require a whole lot. And I think here, what's really going to be interesting is when I start feeding baleage, because they're going to get a couple forks full of that. See if these guys are about finished with their grains. As usual, Fawn's still picking away, but as always, Fawn takes forever for anything. But I feel that they've all eaten quite enough. For whatever reason, that one sticks. So we'll let them move around now. We'll eat up what's left. There's usually not much left. Drives me nuts that they move these blocks around so much. She is going to get separated out shortly. I don't know when, but she's going to get the, but you can see they eat up pretty good, clean up pretty good. Some things are going to change here. Those 15-gallon jugs cut in half. I'm going to start putting them down. Trying to figure out a way to do it so they're separated a little. That way they're not pawing through the dirt, damn flies. In case you didn't notice, this is all the hay I got stacked in here. There's, I don't know, 20, probably 60 bales in here. Maybe a little more. Then there's another 70 piled up on the field, or well, lined up in the field. Like I said, I started feeding everybody outside again. I did that for a couple of reasons, but next step, I'm not 100% sure where we're going to be at next. Waiting to see if Mixon start stacking wood somewhere. I got to move a few things. This, where the wood is where we usually put in all our extra hay, and I can usually get 100 plus bales right here on this, between this and the alleyway. We can usually get around 100 and some bales in here. It's 110 maybe. Other than that, that's our that's us in a nutshell today. I don't have to move pastures. I'm not really moving pastures anymore. I'm still saving that last pasture out back, the woven wire. That is their winter pasture, because I want those pastures this spring to grow up nice and tall before we let them out. I am thinking that it's going to come down to me locking them in the barn for the last bit of the spring. But I'm not 100% sure yet. But from the looks of things, it's probably where we're going to end up, is locking everybody in. So in this barn this spring should be, we'll have Brownie, Spaz, Fawn, Elsie's Fantasy, Mabel, and Spunky. Maybe, don't quote me on it yet, but maybe we'll have Rosie and Daisy in here. I'm probably going to keep them guys separate unless they miraculously start growing, which I don't see. I'll probably end up keeping them guys separate because it'll be like a 2 separate herd thing. Eventually, Brownie and Fawn are going to get pulled out of this herd because this will be a straight beef herd. So Brownie, Rosie, Fawn, and Daisy will be the quote-unquote dairy herd. Then I'll start breeding those guys to dairy bulls. And we'll just have straight up a small dairy herd. It all depends on what we get thrown for heifers or for calves next year. Because then the following year, or next year, we'll have 3 more heifers added to the breeding herd. And then whatever heifer, if all 3 throw heifers this year, we'll have 3 more heifers, and so on and so forth. I might, like I said, we're in a building process, and this is what takes the longest. It's building to the herd numbers you want. So you hold back the heifers, beef the steers. As you know, that's how this works. Whereas eventually it'll be hold back the best heifers, beef everything else. We're not there yet. I don't know how long it'll take to get there, but in 2 years we'll have 3/4 beef with 1/4 dairy in them, and that percentage will just slowly work its way out with the further we go down the lineage, because there's no breeding back to bull. All the bulls will be breeding in this barn. Anything we breed with will be beef. Like I said, possibly next year, after next year's calving, 2 of the animals will get pulled out. Brownie and Fawn will get pulled out. They'll go with Rosie and Daisy. 4 dairy animals, and then the rest will be beef animals. And then we can start building both herds. So eventually we'll have a decent herd of each. I would like to be sitting with 20 and 20, and then I can start playing the embryo game. That's my long-term goal. I want to play the embryo game now. Buy embryos, implant good embryos in our heifers, or implant embryos in our heifers, breed our cows to good bulls, because that's the key to genetics. In crap heifers will only get you so far. You breed into the best bulls. So the bull I'm getting's got good genetics behind him. He'll breed this year. Next year, I'm looking at getting a good Hereford bull. Possibly, still have access to White Park. I haven't decided yet if we're gonna go with him, but Junior wants to go with Hereford. He's a Hereford fan. I like red cows. I don't care for black cows. Red cows look nicer to me. Most black cows look the same to me. It's one of the things I like about dairy cows is they all vary. Speaking of Fawny come up for a visit, I would love to see a whole herd of her. She's just a great cow. So maybe one day we'll get that lucky and I'll have a whole herd of fawnies. I think that's what I'll breed my dairies to, is some form of Jersey. I'm not a Jersey fan, but Fawny just turned into a good cow. She's a great milk cow. She's a great mama. She's actually one of our best nurse cows. So sorry about that. Anyways, like I said, I'm not a Jersey fan, but Fawn has just turned into a great cow in general. She does almost everything that I want in a cow. She milks, or she makes decent milk. She's probably, when she's nursing, I can get 2 gallons a day off her. When she's not, and this is just, you have to remember she's a heifer too, so she's not going to produce ridiculous amounts. And so you got to remember that off the start. We got grain on the back of her head, but she produced a beautiful calf. Calf is thriving. I'm staring at her right now. She's just sitting there chewing her cud, being all laid back. But she produced a beautiful calf. She looks good. And if you saw her when we first got her, you would not think it's the same cow, because this cow looked like death warmed over when we first got her. She's almost died on us, I don't know how many times, as a calf. Got her bred, and she turned into a beautiful cow. Let's see what else. I don't know the specifics on her genetics other than she's a Jersey. But if I had a herd of fawns, I would not complain, because I know I can breed milk into her. You can breed production into your cows. I like her size. She's not too big. She's small. It means she's more efficient on things and turning feed to milk and condition and everything. But she also makes a great nurse cow. When Mama died, her and I brought the calves in to see who would take care of them. Believe it or not, her, Brownie, and now even Spaz will let all 4 calves nurse off them. And I've watched them go from Brownie to Fawn to Spaz in like every variation of that possible. All 4 2 calves will be feeding off Brownie, 2 will be feeding off Spaz, then 2 will jump off those 2 and jump on Fawn. So all 3 cows made excellent nurse cows. I think they would adopt almost any calf from this point on. So if I were to say buy another couple calves, I wouldn't have to worry about milking a cow to give that cow, or buying milk replacer to give that calf milk, because they will allow that calf to feed off them. Will we go that route? We'll see. I'm not 100%, but it's still up in the air. Anyways, so like I said, my goal, I'd like to sit at 20 and 20. I think with owning 20 cows of beefers gives you the option to breed 10 in the spring and 10 in the fall, so you can have fall calves, summer calves. Also, same thing with the dairy. You can go seasonal, or you can keep your, take your replacements and freshen your replacements in the fall, And there's just 100 different ways to work it. I like 20 and 20, but that's neither here nor there. We'll see what time will tell. But that's it for today. Like, subscribe, smash the like button. Smash the follow button, sorry. Y'all have a good day.